Hi everybody and welcome to this wetsuit guide by WetsuitMegaStore.com. In this guide you'll learn a couple of things about wetsuits and a couple of things that are important when you're buying your next wetsuit. So what is a wetsuit? A wetsuit is a suit that keeps us warm when we're doing sports that happen in cold water, and the wetsuit acts as like an insulation between our bodies and the cold environment around us. It is made out of neoprene material, and this neoprene has excellent insulation capabilities. Why? Because it's full of tiny air bubbles, and actually this air in the bubbles acts as insulation. If we stay with the material for a while, the neoprene, there are a couple of things that separate good neoprene, high quality neoprene from cheap neoprene. The first thing is the number of these air bubbles that I've mentioned. The more air bubbles there are in the material, the better its insulation capabilities will be. So more air bubbles means warmer wetsuit. The second thing is the flexibility of the material of the neoprene. How stretchy it is, how elastic it is. Of course, the stretchier the better. It will be more comfortable, easier to wear, easier to put on, easier to take off, and of course, stretchy neoprene, you won't get tired as fast as with the neoprene that is really hard and rigid. Then maybe two more things that are worth mentioning here. The first one is the weight of the material. This one kind of goes hand in hand with number of air bubbles, because more air bubbles means lighter material and vice versa. And the second one is water absorption. How much water does neoprene soak up? Because it does take in some water and this makes it heavy. Since I've mentioned water absorption, there is another material that wetsuit can be made of, and it's called neoprene. It's pretty similar to neoprene, but its production is based on limestone instead of on oil. And one of its main benefits is that it soaks up much less water than ordinary neoprene. But it's pretty rare, only a few companies use it, I think. If you want to learn more about it, there's a whole article on our website, WetsuitMegaStore.com, dedicated to it, so you can check it out. So, how does the wetsuit work? Now, most of the time, when you talk to different people, when you read different guides online or wherever, you'll see it written that a small amount of water gets into your wetsuit, and it creates a layer between the wetsuit and your body then hits this water, and this is how you stay warm. Now, this is true and this is what happens, but I don't want you to think that this water getting into your wetsuit is necessary for the wetsuit to work. Ideally, now this is not possible only with the dry suits, but ideally no water would get into your wetsuit and you would be dry inside and you would be the warmest. This is also the reason why wetsuit companies spend most of their money, most of their research money, most of their research time on features that stop the water from getting into the wetsuits. We'll take a look at these features later, but I just wanted to mention this here because you want to be as dry as possible inside your wetsuit. Now let's talk different wetsuit types. Depending on how much body does the neoprene cover, we know a few different wetsuit types. The one that we've been staring at the whole time is the full suit. You see the neoprene covers whole legs, arms, and your whole body. One step above that, even warmer, would be a wetsuit that covers also your head. That's a wetsuit with integrated hood. When the water gets really cold, you will also need wetsuit booties and gloves. Now, for a complete guide that will tell you what kind of wetsuit, what kind of neoprene thickness to wear at which water temperature, go to our website, WetsuitMegaStore.com. If you go towards warmer waters and less neoprene, then we get to long john wetsuit, to spring wetsuit, to shorty wetsuit, short john, wetsuit top, wetsuit vest, and then probably bikinis. When we get to warm water wetsuits, there's a bit more fashion, different colors, different designs. Designers can get more creative because it's not just form follows function. But in this guide we'll mostly stick to full suits where quality and warmth are the #1 priority. When it comes to full suits, it's not just how much body it covers, but it's also how thick it is. Most of the time wetsuits have the thickness written somewhere on them. This one, for instance, is a 3-2. What does that mean? It means that in some places it's 3 millimeters thick and in other places it's 2 millimeters thick. You have thinner neoprene in places where lots of flexibility is needed, like your shoulders and your arms, and then you have thicker neoprene on your body and on your legs when it's more important to keep you warm. Now I said this one is a 3-2, then you have also a 4-3, a 5-3, or even a 6 millimeter wetsuits for those really cold places. For instance, let's take a look at this winter wetsuit. First the leg. You can see it's 5 millimeters thick. And now, for instance, if I measure the sleeve of this wetsuit, you see it's thinner and it's only 3 millimeters, making this a 5-3 wetsuit. Apart from wetsuit thickness, there are a couple other things that influence how warm the wetsuit will be. One of them is flushing, meaning how much water can get into your wetsuit. As I said it before, you want as little water as possible. Ideally, no water at all. Ideally, you would be dry inside. The most obvious place where the water can get in are the holes, meaning the holes at the end of your sleeves, the end of your trousers, and of course around your neck. There is no final solution for this problem because a hole will always remain a hole. But companies try different designs to minimize the water getting in, like they make the end of the sleeves and the trousers tighter, they put silicone tape on the inside so wetsuit sticks to your body a little bit, and so on. For the neck, this is a little bit more difficult because if it's too sticky you'll get wetsuit rash, and that's a bad thing. So also in my experience, the most common and the most annoying place where the water gets in is the neck. How to avoid this? The best thing is to get a really good fitting wetsuit. Next place for the water to get in are the stitches. You know, where the wetsuit is sewn together, the needle pierces the material, it makes a hole, and later water can use this hole to get into your wetsuit. There are different type of stitches used in wetsuits. For instance, for summer wetsuits where you're surfing and you're using them in warmer water, it's not that important, so even if stitches leak a little bit, it's not a big deal. But for a full-blown winter steamer, for those cold conditions, you want waterproof stitches. The best stitch for your winter wetsuit is a blind stitch. It is made using a curved needle that never fully penetrates the material. It just makes like a half circle and goes out. Besides different stitching techniques, there are also a couple of other things to improve the stitches. The first one is gluing neoprene panels together, so they are glued instead of stitched, or glued and stitched. The second one is taping the stitches with either neoprene tape or with liquid tape. You'll see that liquid tape makes stitches almost 100% waterproof, but it's a little bit less flexible. So in really high quality wetsuits where you want also lots of flexibility, you use neoprene tape. The last place where the water can get into your wetsuit is the zipper. Zippers are getting better and better, but I don't think that there's a wetsuit that would have a 100% waterproof zipper. So companies try to solve that with a few different designs. For instance, not that long ago, most of the wetsuits had a zipper on the back, and the zipper was much longer than today's chest zippers that are on the chest and are shorter. And of course, longer zipper, more chances for water to get in. This is Now, while we're already talking about zippers, this is not the only benefit of the chest zip. A long back zipper breaks the flow of the material and makes the wetsuit less stretchy on your back and on your shoulders, and this does make a little bit of a difference. If you have a chest zip and only neoprene on your back, the paddling is a little bit easier. Next important thing when it comes to wetsuit warmth is internal lining. Now let me first explain a few things about linings. Here I have a piece of neoprene where you can clearly see all the layers. On the outside you have nylon, in the middle you have neoprene, and on the inside you have internal lining. Now this one is called double lined neoprene because you have lining on both sides, and this one here, you see it's smooth on one side and just had lining on the other. This one is single lined neoprene. The external nylon lining is there for protection, and the single lined neoprene that has no lining on the outside, it's warmer when it's windy. The internal lining also used to be just nylon, but these days special artificial hollow fibers are used. Hollow fibers have air inside, and this makes wetsuits that are lined with this kind of lining a little bit warmer. These fibers are also really stretchy, and one also quite important thing, they dry really fast. The fastest drying lining is the one I'm holding here. It's flash lining from Rip Curl. Now this doesn't mean that the wetsuit will be completely dry in like 15 minutes, but the internal lining needs about 15 minutes to be dry to touch. So the part of the neoprene, the part of the wetsuit that touches your skin when you put it on, will be dry to touch. And this is pretty cool. I think we all hate putting on a wet wetsuit. Now different brands have different names and different looks for this kind of linings, but I think basically the principles are as I've described them. You'll also see that high-end wetsuits, the expensive ones, are almost completely lined with this material, and lower-end wetsuits only have this material in some places, or maybe the cheapest ones don't even have it. Okay, I think this is it. I think we covered all the main features that make a good wetsuit, and I hope you learned something, and hopefully your next purchase will be a little bit more informed and easier. Now before we wrap this, there's one more thing that greatly influences how satisfied you'll be with your wetsuit. It's the fit, of course. Even the best, the most expensive wetsuit with all the features that we mentioned, if it's too big, it won't keep you warm. Water will get in and you'll be cold. So you're looking for a snug fit with no room for the water to accumulate. Fortunately, because the neoprene these days is so stretchy, it leaves you some margin of error, and it hugs your body really good even if the size is not like 100% perfect. This covers all the basics when it comes to wetsuits, but if you want more in-depth information, please visit our website, WetsuitMegaStore.com. You can also, of course, contact me and ask me anything that you need to know about buying your next wetsuit, and if I can, I'll be glad to answer. Thank you for watching, and see you in the water.